Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Sian and today I've got for you my top 5 tips on filling in your tax return. Oh my goodness, it is that exciting here today. I hope you can keep up with the pace. First things first, my first top tip is that it is not that scary to do your own tax return online. Fundamentally, I've done it for the last 5 years. It's easy. As long as you have all of the numbers that you need, it's not going to take you more than 15 to 20 minutes to fill in your tax return online. It's not as scary as you think. You can get an accountant to do it, you can pay someone else to do it, but you can do it yourself. And my top tip would be to do it yourself. If you need an accountant to check on your figures before you hand it in, or to double check business expenses, something like that, then do that because it costs less than them having to do the tax return for you. All you will need is your unique taxpayer reference number. You will need a partnership number if you are self-employed in a partnership, and you will otherwise just need all the figures. So for example, my tax return has a partnership, it has self-employed element, and it also has earnings from renting out a property. And all of those things are different kind of sections on the tax return. They do not take very long to fill out, but you do need to make sure that you have everything in front of you, all the numbers that you could possibly need. So all of that leads into number 2, which is to make sure you keep a proper record of your accounts. If you have receipts, either take a photo of them or store them physically. I tend to store them physically rather than photograph them, but this next tax year I may well be moving into photographing them and just making it all a bit simpler. Everything I do is online in regards to the B&B. Any receipt that is business related you need to keep hold of. Likewise, any invoice. So for example, if somebody's been doing some work on the roof of our house, then obviously that invoice is tax deductible. It is a business expense. The house needed the roof doing, it cost us money to do the roof, therefore we can take the cost of doing that roof off our profits. That's how easy it works. Earnings, expenses, balancing those books up. You need a proper paper trail of things, but it can be a digital paper trail, so you can have it all stored. There are apps that can do things like this for you. QuickBooks I've heard about, and a load of other apps. I haven't used any of them, so I can't recommend any personally, but I will be trying QuickBooks, I think, this year just to see how it goes for the business. In terms of blogging, you need to keep every expense. So let's say you went to stay in a hotel for a conference, you've got the cost of the conference, the cost of the hotel. There's various different expenses you can use as business expenses. You might need to buy a new laptop. I had to do that 2 years ago. That's a business expense. Same with a camera. If I have to buy a new camera, this camera is predominantly used for vlogging. It's my vlogging camera. It is what I need to do my job. Therefore, it would be a business expense. Make sure you know what you can claim as an expense and what you can't. Again, with the B&B, we can't claim like 100% of the heating cost because this is a house we live in as well. So things like that, you have to work out the percentages. It might sound complicated, it's really not. I do get an accountant to go over my B&B accounts just to make sure that they are correct, because that's the largest part of the business, and it's a partnership, so we both want, so me and my business partner both make sure that those accounts are, verified by the accountant, they're all sorted. My third top tip for filling in your tax return is to keep on top of all of your accounts throughout the year, rather than doing it all in a huge rush in like the 3rd week of January. Who does that? If you keep on top of it every single month, then you're going to have a much easier time when it comes to filing your tax return. You can file your tax return from April until the 31st of January. I'd say file it on the 31st because that way the money you would pay for tax stays in your account rather than HMRC's account. So I would do it that way. But if you have the tax return ready to go, all the accounts done on April the 5th, then you're laughing. It's all done. There's nothing to worry about. You've got all the figures that you'll need for the tax year. I have to admit, I do not do this. I do, however, generally in March, do all of the accounts up to that point in the year, and then I panic a bit later on in the year. But I'm going to try my best to do it on a month by month basis this year, because it makes a huge difference. And I can see that it would make a huge difference, and it's not hard to do. It's just about setting aside that time to sit down and do your accounts. You know, you don't have to have this mad panic at this time of year, but there's nothing wrong with a mad panic either. Like, as long as you can get on top of it and do it, then that's absolutely fine. My fourth top tip might well be related to that too, and that is that if you suddenly end up with a much bigger tax bill than you were anticipating, do not panic. You are not going to end up in jail on the 1st of February for not paying your tax. Call HMRC the second that you know that you are not going to be able to pay it back in one go, and they will most likely sort out a payment plan with you. That's something that's so important to know. It's something that could totally kind of save you from totally panicking, but as long as you let them know straight away without fail, then likely they will sort something out for you. And again, that's probably another good thing about if you do your accounts throughout the year. If you know in April what your tax bill is going to be, you can then save your money until January when you have to pay it. So you could put aside money every single month from that point until you have to pay it, to know that you do have to pay it, if that makes sense. My fifth and final top tip is that the HMRC website is actually really useful. They have little courses that you can go on there, and they have videos talking you through every step of everything. When you're actually filling out your tax return, you can click on the little question mark to ask exactly what it means about that specific part, and it will tell you in depth. For example, with rental properties, you used to be able to claim 100% of interest on a mortgage as a business expense, and you can no longer. Last year I think it was 75%, this year it's 50%. It's being phased out basically, but that can be a huge cost. For us, we pay a mortgage on the property. It was our house we bought to live in forever, and we ended up moving to the B&B to run it. So this was never meant to be a rental property, so we do have a mortgage on it. We pay a lot of interest, and it was great when we could deduct that as a business expense. But never mind. So that's it, I think, my top 5 tips for filling in your tax return. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed telling you. I'm sure there are many, many other tips. If you have them, please list them below in the comments. But fundamentally, it's not as hard as it looks. If I can do it, you can do it, okay? You just need to keep on top of things with a spreadsheet throughout the year, and it's very easy to do then. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you again soon. All right, bye.